Hello and welcome to a very special e-press conference. Of course, in these times, we're no longer in the host city. Instead, we're being joined in New York, in Manchester, here in London, and in San Diego and Texas by the fighters, their teams, ahead of a huge night of boxing on December 19th, the battle for 168-pound supremacy against Canelo Álvarez and Callum Smith, live on DAZN. It's an honour to be working with Canelo Álvarez, Canelo Promotions, Eddie Reynoso and the team ahead of a massive event, December 19th at the Alamo Dome in Texas, San Antonio. Very few tickets still remain at Ticketmaster and we can't wait. Well, let's start off by beaming straight to New York where we catch up with Joe Markowski from DAZN. Joe, great fight and a big end to 2020.
Well, thank you, Eddie, and thanks to Canelo, Eddie and Chepo Reynoso, Callum Smith and Joe Gallagher. Let me be blunt, this is an incredible fight. The pound-for-pound king against #1 super middleweight in the world. At DAZN, we're incredibly excited and proud to be broadcasting our fourth fight with Canelo Álvarez and the first of those fights to be featured on our soon-to-launch global platform. Canelo versus Smith, we broadcast exclusively live on DAZN in more than 200 markets and territories around the world. And our goal in launching around the world is to deliver the same value that we've been delivering in the US for the last couple of years. An incredible roster of fights at an incredibly low price. In the opening month, our operations alone will deliver Anthony Joshua on his road to the undisputed World Heavyweight Championship, Triple G in a historic 21st defense of his middleweight world title, and Ryan Garcia in the toughest test yet of his career against Luke Campbell on the 2nd of January. All of that, all included in a very low monthly subscription price, with probably no fight more anticipated than this test between these two gentlemen on the 19th of December. I want to wish best of luck to both fighters and their teams, and looking forward to introducing DAZN to a new population of sports fans all around the world. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Joe. Look forward to catching up in San Antonio on Fight Week. Now we're going to beam over to San Antonio in Texas, where we'll be in a couple of weeks' time.
Thank you, Eddie. The city of San Antonio is extremely honored to have Canelo Álvarez, Mexican boxing superstar, back in San Antonio in the Alamo Dome on December 19th. City of San Antonio and the Alamo Dome are proud to partner with Canelo Promotions and Matchroom Boxing to bring this great match to our beautiful city and our iconic Alamo Dome. The Alamo Dome has a rich history of staging blockbuster fights. Canelo last fought in the Alamo Dome in April 2013, beating Austin Trout. Fans, you can do your part to keep fellow fans and staff safe by following mask requirements and physical distancing policies. And if you are feeling sick, please enjoy the event from the safety of your home. You can find more information on the Alamo Dome safety protocols and event-related details on the Alamo Dome website at alamodome.com. Thank you.
Can't wait to visit the Alamo Dome for the first time. Looks like an incredible place where we've been allowed 11,000 fans in there for December 19th. It's going to be great to see live fans back at boxing. We've missed it so much. We're now going to join Callum Smith's trainer, Joe Gallagher, live in Manchester. Joe, it's the big one. It's the one you've wanted for a long time. Why is now the right time for Callum Smith?
I wouldn't say it's the perfect timing in the pandemic that we're in, but it's the perfect opportunity and timing in retrospect as far as his career is. 30 years of age now, Canelo the same age, both coming off a year's layoff. And no, I just think it's a great time for Callum. I feel, okay, people might say about his inactivity the last 18 months and not making as many defences as he'd like to have since he beat George Groves, but it's also allowed his body fill out, mature, become a man. And like you say, we've got the perfect platform now, the right opponent to show everyone what I've said for many years, that Callum Smith is like the pound-for-pound #1 out of the UK.
Joe, we know 2020 has been difficult in terms of preparation for fighters in gyms and, of course, bringing in sparring partners. How's it been for you in preparation? Do you feel like you've had the right kind of camp for this kind of challenge?
Yeah, it's been a really tough time from a vast pool of talent where we most probably bring sparring partners in from America and Germany and Europe. We've not been able to do that now. Obviously, we've a massive pool of talent now. We're down to a hot tub of talent, and not just getting any type of sparring partners, but sparring partners that can replicate things that Canelo does. That's been a hard job, and then also the training, the lockdowns, no travelling, all that type of stuff. So yeah, it's been very hard, and not only that though, the journey over there is even hard now that we found out. We've got to go to 2 or 3 different cities before we end up there. So like I say, testing times, but full credit, and I keep saying it time and time again, for Callum Smith for taking this fight, especially when lots of people are saying, oh, we'll wait till there's a crowd, or I'll wait till next year. Callum Smith didn't say that. 4.5 weeks notice, I'll take him on, let's do it, and fair play to him. And regardless of all the logistics side of it, Callum Smith needs huge credit for taking on the pound-for-pound #1 in the world at short notice.
Joe, of course, you've been up close and personal with Canelo Álvarez before when Liam Smith boxed him for the world light middleweight title. What did you see that night, and what gives you the confidence that you believe that Callum can do the business on December 19th?
I think in that fight, the stuff that we worked on with Liam for Canelo, that Liam managed to get off well and do well, and I don't think Liam gets much credit for the performance he put in that night. What we were aware of that week is what a Canelo fight week is. Canelo fight week is like what a Floyd Mayweather fight week is. It's totally different to any normal fight week. But we don't have that this time. Obviously, there'll be some type of crowd, 15, 20,000, but not the 55,000 that was there with Liam and Canelo. And same again, 2 different styles of fighters. Callum Smith, 6'3", 6'4", Liam, 5'10". Yeah, I'm not reading much into that there. What we learned from that is what a Canelo fight week is. Just on the scales, how they just walk up, jump on the scales and walk off, where we're so used to ever being introduced to the scales, getting on and watching it. They just jumped on, jumped off, and that was it. And just little things like that we learned over there. But like you say, not reading much into that, but what we've seen was the size of Canelo. Liam Smith on the scales looked the bigger man, and then when we got in the ring on the night, when Canelo stepped into the ring shuddered. I'm just like, wow, someone had put a pump to him and blown him up twice the size he was from the day before.
Joe, I know on paper both guys have only had 5 weeks to prepare for this fight, but we know Callum's been expecting to fight in December. You're confident he's had enough time to prepare for this fight, and that come December 19th, he will be ready to take this moment and opportunity with both hands?
I'd say prepared to the best that we can be. Well prepared would be if we would have had the proper sparring partners, but I'm not going to sit here and start moaning. We've got a huge opportunity. Callum's got a huge opportunity to go in there and do our best. The flip side of it is, what I've noticed being in big fights, sometimes you can have 10, 12 weeks preparation. That's 10, 12 weeks of people wanting interviews, people coming around wanting tickets. The time you come around to fight week, you can be mentally drained from it. Because this is 4.5 weeks notice, that could work the reverse side. It's short, it's condensed, and it's crash bang wallop, and it's fight week and you're in the ring. So that side of it is most probably a plus side of it. And yeah, no, like I said, we've worked hard towards this, and it's a huge opportunity. It is, I stole a hashtag the other day, the world awaits. It is the biggest fight in world boxing, regardless of who's fighting. Since lockdown, it is. You got the pound-for-pound #1 in the world, Canelo Álvarez, against the #1 168-pound fighter in the world in Callum Smith, and we're really looking forward to it. And I can't wait to get in there for Callum Smith to show everyone what I've always thought he's capable of.
Thanks, Joe. Delighted now to be joined in San Diego by Canelo Álvarez's trainer, Eddie Reynoso. Eddie, welcome. How's things out there? Great to be working with you again. How's training camp going in San Diego?
¿Qué tal, Eddie? Pues un gusto saludarlos. Pues bien, estamos trabajando muy fuerte. Ya tenemos casi 4 meses preparándonos para este compromiso, y pues prácticamente estamos a muy poco de estar al 100%.
Eddie, it's been a testing time in 2020, very difficult with bringing sparring partners in or preparing properly. How has camp been for you, and how confident are you that you would have ticked all the boxes in preparation for this big challenge on December 19th?
Pues más que nada, cuidar mucho el campamento, ver quién entra al gimnasio, más que nada tener un equipo con el cual nada más estemos trabajando, no meter mucha gente. Ha sido difícil todo este año para nosotros, para todo el mundo, pero pues nos hemos mantenido en el gimnasio, nos hemos mantenido activos y es por eso que vamos a estar listos para el 19 de diciembre.
Eddie, this is a great fight, and the one thing that stands out in our conversations is that you didn't want an easy fight. You, Saúl, the team, they wanted the challenges. Of course, previously you boxed Daniel Jacobs for his middleweight world title. Then you boxed Sergey Kovalev for his light heavyweight world title. And now you're fighting the #1 super middleweight in the world for his world titles. What is it about you guys? You love a challenge.
Sí, prácticamente cuando tienes al mejor boxeador del mundo hay que demostrarlo con los mejores rivales para llegar a ser nombrado el mejor peleador del planeta. Creo que no es fácil, hay que pasar por muchos obstáculos, hay que ganar peleas, hay que ganar campeonatos. Siempre nos han gustado los retos, es por eso que Saúl está en el lugar que está y pues ahora ya que estamos instalados en ese lugar tan privilegiado, vamos a seguir trabajando y vamos a empezar a hacer las cosas todavía de mejor manera y claro, buscando los mejores oponentes, las mejores peleas para seguir en el lugar que estamos.
Eddie, what are the challenges ahead facing Callum Smith? We know he's the WBA super champion, he's the Ring Magazine champion, obviously has a big height advantage, he's a fantastic puncher, particularly to the body as well. What are the big challenges for you going into this fight?
Pues más que nada es un buen peleador, es un peleador que ha enfrentado a buenos rivales, es campeón de la Asociación Mundial de Boxeo, es campeón de Ring Magazine, ganó la Copa Mundial de la categoría, entonces es un peleador que tiene más que nada un gran equipo de trabajo también, es un peleador que sabe pelear a la distancia, que es un peleador fuerte, un peleador que tiene muy buena mano izquierda, es más alto que Saúl, entonces tenemos que trabajar muy enfocados de hacer bien las cosas porque enfrente tenemos a un excelente peleador y creo que la pelea es de riesgo como hay muchas, pero enfrentar este tipo de peleadores pues son los que nos motivan más a seguir trabajando mejor y a hacer mejor las cosas.
Eddie, we know that Canelo Álvarez has been on Callum Smith's radar for a long, long time. How long have you been watching Callum Smith and how long has he been a target for Team Canelo?
Pues prácticamente lo tenemos desde que subimos a las 168 libras. Ahí empezaron a surgir nombres como Callum Smith, Billy Joe Sanders, Benavides, Caleb Plant. Son los mejores boxeadores que hay en la división. Creo que el mejor en la división de esos que te nombré es Callum Smith, es por eso que nosotros optamos por ir por él. Entonces en el radar ya tenemos pues más de un año que lo tenemos en el camino. Yo realmente no pensé que fuéramos a pelear con él en diciembre, pero pues la pelea se dio y estamos listos.
Eddie, of course, Saúl's fights recently have been across many different weights. Middleweight, light heavyweight, now super middleweight. Where do you feel his optimum weight is, or is it just a case of willing to take all challenges in all divisions?
El peso óptimo de Saúl son las 168 libras. Es donde llega mejor físicamente, no se desgasta para marcar a las 168 libras. Creo que ya lo demostró. Vamos a hacer campaña como se los he dicho anteriormente y nuestra idea es unificar los 4 campeonatos del mundo en las 168 libras.
Eddie, one of my favourite fighters, Julio Cesar Martinez, who we worked together on, back out December 19th, one of the most exciting punchers, pound for pound in boxing right now. How excited are you for his future? And of course, victory on December 19th will lead to big unifications in 2021.
Sí, realmente Julio César Martínez es un muy buen boxeador y ha tenido, va por la tercera defensa del campeonato mundial y creo que va a ser muy interesante verlo también en la pelea de Canelo. Creo que es un boxeador mexicano aguerrido que le gusta a la gente y pues esperemos que siga creciendo como hasta ahorita y llegue muy lejos en el boxeo.
Thanks, Eddie. We've heard from the trainers now. Now it's time to hear from the fighters ahead of this huge clash. Now I'm delighted to say we are joined here live by the reigning WBA Super Ring Magazine World Champion, the #1 super middleweight on the planet, Callum Smith. Callum, welcome. Everybody else had to do it via Zoom. You've had to join us in here, so sorry about that, but welcome. Massive opportunity, massive moment for you. Everything that you've achieved, we know you've been looking for the big challenges. Doesn't get any bigger than this.
No, definitely it's a huge opportunity, but an opportunity I feel I deserve. I've worked hard to get to the position I am. I'm ranked #1 in the world, and I believe I deserve to be here. And once become a world champion, I set my sights on the biggest fights possible, and I've managed to land the biggest one possible for me in my weight division. He's a top fighter and someone I'm looking forward to sharing the ring with, and I believe how good he is will show me how good I am.
Obviously, when you won the World Boxing Super Series, beating George Groves, you won the Ring Magazine belt. You went out, you had 2 defences, Hassan and Dam, John Ryder, but I always got the feeling that you were motivated for those fights, but it's not what you wanted. You wanted the opportunity to test yourself against the very best. And a great fighter in Canelo Álvarez should be a tough challenge.
Yeah, definitely tough. The toughest one possible for me at the moment. But like I said, the minute I become world champion, I wanted the biggest fights possible, and I didn't want no routine defences, no man-to defences. I wanted to fight the best. I wanted the unifications or the superstar names, which Canelo Álvarez definitely is. So, listen, I'm up against it, but I've always said the better the opponent, the better the performance from myself, and I think I've shown that throughout my career. Every time the chips have been down, I've always delivered, and I feel this one will be no different.
Negotiating this fight with these guys, one thing that reigned through was they really believed they'd beat anyone. You know, I know they had opportunities for easier fights, but they just wanted to fight what they perceived to be the best in the division, which is you. You know, we saw them take the challenge of Danny Jacobs, take the challenge of Kovalev. Do you think they look past you, or it's just belief in themselves that they think that they are the #1 pound for pound on the planet and quite literally can't be
definitely.
beaten?
I think exactly that. And I think the position he's in, the superstar that he is, people demand the biggest fights possible. And I think he's shown throughout his career he hasn't really ducked anyone, whatever weight he's gone to. He's always fought the top fights at that time. And I think he's showed, like I say, in my opinion, the toughest fight at 168. I believe I am the best in the world. All the rankings put me as #1. So on paper, I am the toughest fight for him. But it'll be a good fight stylistically. I think we gel pretty well, and I'm looking forward to it. This one does excite me. This is a fight that really does excite me, and the thought of losing always motivates me and drives me more. And I'm the underdog in this fight, but I definitely believe I beat him. I'm confident in my own ability. I know how good I am. I know how good I can be, and I believe December 19th I'll still be a world champion.
Obviously, I said to Joe earlier, you know, that in terms of preparation, you have seen him up close. Joe's seen him up close against your brother, and no better person to give you, you know, the rundown and the ins and outs of the style of Canelo Álvarez. How's preparation been for this camp? A lot of people look at it on paper and say, well, these guys have only had 5 weeks, but we know you were planning to fight in December. Nothing's ideal at the moment, but you do have key people in that camp that can really help you in this particular fight.
Yeah, definitely. Listen, nothing's ideal. Ideal would have been announced 12 weeks ago, and I'd have had no 10-week camp for Canelo Álvarez, but I was training anyway. I've always said I live a good life. I'm always in and around the gym, and 4 weeks notice, but 4 weeks where I'm in okay shape to just tailor it towards Canelo Álvarez. Now, listen, if I didn't believe I'd be in good shape come December 19th, I would have turned it down and planned on securing a fight next year. So, listen, I've got no excuses. I'll be in very good shape, and yeah, my brother Liam, he's been in with him, and as much as you can watch someone over the years on video or whatever, it's always different being in with them. And Liam has been in with him, he knows, he's seen him up close, he knows little things he does very well and stuff he feels I can capitalise on. And I've picked his brains even before this fight was even made over the fight, and more so throughout camp. And he's with me every day in the gym, he watches the spars, and him and Joe both give me advice, and I believe he'll come up with a good game plan, and provided I can stick to it and use all my ability, I definitely believe he'll pull it off.
And finally, we know you've achieved so much. Obviously, you know, turned pro with us. You won the English title, the Commonwealth title, the British title, the European title, WBC International Silver, WBA Super, Ring Magazine belt. But this is something beyond that, isn't it? This is about cementing your legacy as a true great of British boxing. Yeah,
it becomes, you're at this level, it becomes more about the belt, less about the belts and more just about being in the biggest fights possible and career-defining fights. And a win over Canelo Álvarez will top anything I've achieved so far. And the goal was to become world champion, but like I said, once I'd done that, I set my sights on the biggest fights possible, and this definitely is that, and it's an exciting one.
Well, thank you, Callum. We'll see you out in San Antonio. Big opportunity for you. Go and grab it with both hands. The champion, Callum Smith, and now we go over live to the challenger in San Diego, Saúl Canelo Álvarez. Saúl, thanks for joining us in San Diego, and great to be working with you again ahead of this big challenge. We've seen you continuously face the champion, and now you face the #1 ranked fighter in the 168-pound division, Callum Smith. How ready are you for this challenge?
Hola Eddie, un gusto estar contigo nuevamente y pues listos para esto.
Saúl, we know you had a lot of options to fight in December, but why take this challenge? Why continuously test yourself against the best in the divisions?
No, porque es lo que me gusta, ¿no? Me gustan los retos y esto es lo que me genera a mí una motivación, ¿no? Los retos, lo que me genera un problema arriba del cuadrilátero, lo que me gusta y eso para mí es lo más importante, ¿no? Porque al final pues quiero hacer historia en este deporte y hay que enfrentar a los mejores que andan por ahí y así que por eso estamos en este gran reto. Esta próxima pelea es un gran reto para mí, es una motivación grande para mí también y estamos listos para pasar este otro reto.
Right here in Callum Smith, we have a huge 168-pounder. What do you see as his biggest strengths and what weaknesses will you look to exploit on December 19th?
No, es un peleador alto, obviamente es una ventaja para él y aparte es un peleador fuerte, también inteligente, ¿no? Que sabe lo que hace arriba del cuadrilátero. Eso lo hace un poco más peligroso, pero pues obviamente en el nivel en el que estoy me tengo que adaptar a todos los estilos y a todas las estaturas, así que sé lo peligroso de mi rival y estamos conscientes de eso, pero estamos listos para asumir este gran reto.
I know that you feel that Callum Smith is the best 168-pounder in the world, but why the desire to fight him? Is it the WBA Super Championship or is it that special Ring Magazine belt to prove that you are the number one in the division?
Pues sí, mira, para mí es el mejor en las 168 libras, está catalogado como el número 1 en el ranking mundial en las 168 libras, así que pues sí, estoy de acuerdo en que es el mejor y por eso a mí me motiva muchísimo, ¿no? Me motiva muchísimo porque es un gran reto para mí y pues es seguir haciendo historia en el boxeo, que al final es lo que quiero, es lo que amo hacer.
We know that Canelo Álvarez events are always huge occasions, thousands of fans in attendance. How proud are you to have live fans back at this show in Texas? You've boxed at the Alamo Dome before against Austin Trout. Should be a great occasion and so important for the sport to bring fans back to these huge events.
Así es, ya peleé una vez ahí en el 2013 y fue una experiencia muy bonita ante la gente de Texas, siempre lo es. Y pues ahora tener, aunque sea pocos fans ahí en la arena, pues me pone muy feliz, ¿no? Para volver a empezar a reactivar el boxeo con gente y que la gente disfrute de grandes peleas.
Sal, you've been world champion in 4 different divisions now. What is it that keeps driving you on for these challenges? And what is the goal? Is it to be undisputed in the division or is it just to continuously test yourself against the very best?
Eddie y yo como equipo nos propusimos unificar en las 168 libras y pues este es el primer paso para hacerlo, ¿no? Entonces estamos muy motivados y a corto plazo esa es la meta.
Callum, I know at this level it's difficult to make predictions. Have you got any for the fight or you just believe a Callum Smith victory? Do you believe you can stop Canelo Álvarez? We've seen him got a great chin against the likes of Gennady Golovkin and your brother and Danny Jacobs and Kovalev as well. Do you think you have the size and the power to get him out of there inside the distance?
Yeah, most definitely. I think obviously he's shown he's very durable. He's shown a great chin over the years, but I think you've always got to believe I've got the power to hit anyone, whether that's Canelo Álvarez or any other 168 in the world. So I believe I can hit anyone, but I think I'll go in there with a good game plan, listen to Joe, work on the tactics, and I say I believe I win. I believe December 20th I wake up still a world champion.
And Canelo, finally, great talking to you. Do you have a prediction for the fans? Going to be around 11,000 joining us at the Alamo Dome and watching on DAZN around the world. What happens on December 19th when you fight Callum Smith?
No, va a ser una gran pelea sin duda, ¿no? Porque tengo un rival muy fuerte, muy inteligente arriba del cuadrilátero, pero obviamente me visualizo ganando, haciendo una pelea muy inteligente y obviamente ganando ese otro título, primero Dios. Muchas gracias a todos, gracias a ustedes y si Dios quiere nos vemos el 19 de diciembre para que vivan una gran pelea y gracias a todos por allá.
Well, you've heard what they've had to say. You've heard from the fighters, the trainers, Joe Markowski from DAZN. What a fight this is set to be. December the 19th, after a rough year for everybody and a rough year for all sport, boxing leaves on a high. A fantastic fight between Saúl Canelo Álvarez and Callum Smith for the WBA Super and the Ring Magazine World Championship, the battle for 168-pound supremacy. These are the kind of fights that are so important for boxing. We can't wait for a huge night, a huge event, live on DAZN, December 19th, Alamo Dome in San Antonio. We'll see you there. How are we doing? This is Instagram Live. My goodness, look at this beard. It's absolutely terrible. So as you know, or you may know, we have a number of Matchroom boxing fighters joining us online today. I don't know how I'm going to do this. Apparently they're going to come up, anyone who wants to join in. I hope you're all well, hope you're all keeping safe. Our first guest is going to be Conor Benn, when I can find him. It's going well so far, Scott. This is how are we doing, Jolly J? Yes, Simon Wall. Conor Benn, there he is. I know I need a shave. It's a terrible beard.
What's going on?
Yes, the Destroyer.
How you doing?
Where's the beard gone, mate?
Nah, listen, it had to go, mate. It had to go. Do you know what? I paid all that money for it, and now I can't wait.
Just shaved it off. Look, you could have some of these, but the greys ain't going to suit you too well.
Nah, I don't think so either, mate.
Is your old man in town?
Yeah, he's staying with me till June.
Is he? Good.
Yeah,
good,
so imagine the Ben's on lockdown, mate.
I saw you out. For anyone that doesn't know, I won't tell you the exact place, but Conor Benn lives about 200 yards from me. And where you were yesterday doing your run, that's my dog walk. I go on that walk every day.
Oh, madness.
You go across there, little bridge, round by the horses.
I run like in the woods and that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So what's the mindset? What's the mindset of a fighter right now in this? I mean, we don't know. The truth is, you don't know. You're supposed to box March 28th.
Yeah.
People don't know you did actually have a little bit of a cold during that period. So it was still a little bit actually up in the air at the time.
Yeah.
But moving forward, you don't know whether you're fighting in June, July, August, September. What you do know is you're fighting on the first card back. But as a fighter who earns his money pretty much when he fights, what's the mindset right now? How do you keep the positivity?
Well, to have positive people around me, really. And every time I've had a break, you know, I have come back better, and that's due to me closing the gap, working in the times that I can. And I've had a long time out already. My last fight was, October 28th last year. So me not fighting till June, July, it don't worry me. I won't have no ring rust because I'm still working, I'm still grafting. I can still work on my shadow boxing and things like that. So really in this time, I need to close the gap between me and these other fighters. And this is a perfect opportunity for me to do that.
I saw that. I don't know if you watched that Dave Caldwell interview the other day, but that's what he said, where he talked about the ones that work. Yeah, he said the ones that work harder during this period are basically closing the gap on the others that might not be learning or might not be improving.
Well, that's been the story of my career, though. Ain't it? People think, oh, you know, when I broke my jaw, I come back better. When I had my hand injury, I come back better. And, you know, the proof's in the pudding. It shows. Yeah, I can say I'm working now or doing this or doing that, but the reality is it shows. So I'm excited to come back. There ain't going to be no ring rust whatsoever. Throw me straight into a big fight. There ain't going to be no ring rust.
When we talk about matching you now and moving you, like I have to say at first, as you know, like it's been well documented. When you first come on board, I remember when you come out and you walked out of the hotel, I felt so sorry for you because you're like, you know, you come out like an absolute lunatic.
I know.
Remember when we went to Scotland and you boxed in Scotland? You were terrible in your second fight.
Do you know what? You probably
like,
must have thought, what have I done?
I don't know, but no, listen. I signed you. I'll be completely honest. I signed you because you were Nigel's son. I knew you'd have the spunk. I knew you'd have plenty of arsehole. But I didn't know if you could fight. And at the time, all you had was that fighting instinct. But your improvements that you've made have been unbelievable. And I keep saying in all the interviews that Tony Sims is obviously very, very careful when it comes to matchmaking, as every trainer and manager is. But now I've noticed over the last 3 or 4 months, the people that he's sending me for you to fight are of a completely different level. You know, when we start talking about Samuel Vargas, I mean, we all know you wanted the Johnny Garton fight, wanted the Chris Jenkins fight, Samuel Vargas, all these, like, these are well beyond the level that you've boxed at. But I mean, with the exception of 1 or 2. So they must be seeing something that you're ready for these guys, because a lot of these guys are European level, fringe world level title contenders.
But that's fine. I'm ready for all of them. And, you know, I mean, the way I'm sparring, which everybody doesn't see, I'm you know, banging them out in sparring. And so I'm having to get sparring in, and it's a good feeling to be able to show that I'm learning. I'm now sparring in 18-ounce gloves. And the way I'm twisting in my shots, the way I'm, you know, working on my jab and things like that, it's all coming together. And, you know, it's Tony. I trust Tony with my career entirely. He's so hands-on with my career. He's always messaging me. He's always sending me fighters of who to watch. And I seem to be absorbing it like a sponge. Did I think I'd be where I am as quick as I am in terms of ability? No, not at all. And I'm far from where I'm going to be, which is why it's not like I'm not up for a fight. I'm always up for a fight. I'm a fighter. That's what I do. So no, the fights will come. The hard fights will come. And sometimes I feel like I need to, you know, slow it down a little bit, because what am I going to be like in 5 years' time, 6 years' time? And it's all learning. It's all growing. I've just got to use this time to learn as much as I can. So when the big fights do come, I know what I'm doing. So
that obviously you were on the card for Josh Kelly against David Avanesian. Great fight. Great fight. We were gutted that we didn't get a chance to see. What do you think happens in that fight when we do get it eventually? And obviously, one eye on the winner of that fight as well.
Definitely. I mean, I'll speak with Avanesian. He's a cool guy, and again, me and Kelly have had our back and forths. Obviously, I want the Brit to win. You got to support the Brit, and that's just the way I look at things. And it'll be a massive fight if Kelly does come through. Am I struggling to see it? I am, based on the last 3 performances of each fighter. And you know, they say you're only as good as your last performance. So I think Avanesian could get to him late, possibly, based on Kelly slowing down the later rounds. But then again, I think that could be a weight thing. So maybe if he'd done his weight properly, he'd have more, you know, energy later rounds. I don't know, but I'd fight either of them.
And obviously, fight between Josh Kelly, big British fight. I mean, he goes and beats Avanesian, you get a British title, you know, move up the world rankings continuously. That's a big fight. And you're closing the gap there, you know, because a lot of people said that Josh Kelly was, you know, too experienced for you, obviously with his amateur pedigree, too good for you. But as your performances have improved and you've started to improve in the gym as well, people talking about that fight a lot more competitively now.
Well, I think you know, Kelly has had a head start of his amateur career. It's something I wish I did have, and something I wish I didn't have at the same time, because I believe it will do me favours later on in my career with, you know, being boxing since the age of 12, 10, or however young, and then you end up having injuries as your career goes on later on. So, you know, I think it's a blessing in disguise that I haven't had many amateurs, and I'm putting in the hard graft now to make up for it. I may never be a polished fighter, may never be a slick defensive fighter, but all I know is that whoever I fight is going to be in for a fight, and they'll know they've been in for a fight. That's all I know. That's all I know. So as far as it going technically, yeah, he boxed anyone's ears off 6 rounds, but it's the next 6 that can. And I believe that with the hard graft I put in, with me carrying my punching power later rounds, and after being able to take a shot as well, I think I'll cause him a hell of a problem.
And before we go, Dillian Whyte's coming up soon. Little message to the British public.
Listen, thank you, British supporters, for supporting me through my career, man. You lot have been a blessing, and I wouldn't be where I am today without you lot. And, you know, that's I say that from the heart. So thank you, lot. And Eddie, thank you, mate. Really, thank you.
All right, listen, it's just a start, mate. Just a start.
Yeah, you know,
let's get through this. Let's get through this. Let's get back in the ring.
Yeah, I don't thank you enough, though, Eddie.
No, listen, thank you. Listen, the entertainment you gave me in that fight with Paynard at your call was one of my favourite nights at your call. So, listen.
Go on, I'll take that.
Good. And I always say about you, you're one of the hardest workers I know. And
you,
that's a nice thing to be said about people. So keep grafting, keep switched on in this time, particularly, because as soon as we're back up and running, you're the first one that's getting a call.
Go on. All right. Wicked.
All right. See you soon, mate. Bye, mate. Bye. Legend, mate. And his old man's a legend. His old man is a legend. Hopefully he will be a legend as well. Lovely kid, Conor Benn. Just got a little one in here saying, Eddie looks like my granddad. Just to advise you, this beard is going to go tonight. Absolutely terrible. Terrible. Right, I believe Dillian Whyte is going to be joining us soon. if he dials in. The WBC interim world heavyweight champion, Dillian Whyte. Not yet. Eddie, knock out a quick joke, mate. If you haven't had my jokes yet, every day Instagram, they're getting terrible. I'm losing my mind. Dillian Whyte, how you do it, mate? Can I do it, Scott? Can I request a live? He's got to request it.
To go off and come back on.
Dillian, if you're listening, go off, take me off, and then come. Dillian Whyte, you call me. No, Dillian, you got to come off my chat and then come back on and request the live. It's very high level stuff. So, Dill, come off, then come back on and request. Here we go. We're in. Yes.
I'm just cooking some lunch, mate.
What's on the menu?
I got some turkey and some chicken stew.
Oh, wow. Look at that.
There you go. It's making.
So,
it
where are you right now?
I gotta cook it for 3 hours, mate. It's taking fucking ages. I'm hungry.
Where are you right now?
I'm in Portugal, training camp.
Okay. So you managed to get out there before the madness?
Yeah. You know, it's a little bit of planning, you know. I had to drive 40 hours non-stop from my house straight to here.
Well, you drove there?
Yeah, drove. I didn't want, because I brought the dogs with me, so I didn't want it to fly. So I just drove.
What's it like over there? Quiet?
You know what? It's quiet, but there's food in the shelves, and I got a good setup here. It's a good base. You know, what I mean, at home I would have no way to train. I had to stop training. So, you know, we thought about it, we planned, and we came here, and it's good. It's sunny here. Everyone's panicking all around the world, but it's not as bad as home, though. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, no, it's getting pretty bad in there. Not really a lot to do. Who's out there with you, Dill, in your camp?
My camp, I got back for a bit. He went back because he's got a young kid and stuff, so he went back. He's coming back in a couple of weeks, and that's it, man.
So what's the mindset at the moment of a fighter with all the uncertainty? We know we're going to be making a decision. We've talked to you.
I'm jumping that in a minute.
Yeah, what, live on Instagram?
Have a nice swim and relax.
Can we see the belly flop on Instagram?
No. Say again?
We see the belly flop on Instagram.
No. The mindset is just to, you know what, listen, my date's not cancelled. My date's still going ahead, so I'm training, and I'm a professional, so I just try to be professional, keep training, try and stay positive. And you know, as well, a lot of people look up to us, professional athletes. So I just try and post something positive every day. Try and post to show that I'm still training, I'm still remaining strong. You know, it's very important to show people in this time, as well as yourself, that it's important to try and get on with life the best you can in these kind of situations, because it's easy to panic and just shut down, and fear and panic sets in, and then we just end up panicking and everything just stops. So I just try and show as much positivity as I can, man.
And that's the message as well to young fighters as well. Might not have had the big fights and the big paydays, waiting for a date. It's tough for them, right?
Yeah, you know what? It is tough because I've been through every stage of boxing apart from being world champion. I've been on the losing side, coming up, selling tickets. So it's very hard when you're up and coming fighter and you haven't got a big contract. You have to sell tickets, and without the boxing, there's no money coming in. So, it's difficult, man. I know exactly where all of these guys is at and how they feel. You have to just try and just stay positive and just be professional. It's hard, but you have to just try and be professional, man. Keep training and just think of the long-term goal. Long-term goal is to become a better fighter, a more consistent fighter. So in this time, take the time to just improve, man.
I know you got a bit of a new team now, particularly on your sort of strength and conditioning side.
Yeah.
Obviously you were thrown into the Saudi fight, very little prep, very heavy. It was a good fight against Marius Wack and probably should have been an easier fight for you, but you always give fans great fights anyway. But what is the mindset on the strength and conditioning going into the Povetkin fight? Is it to come in? Obviously, you'll be lighter than Saudi, but where do you think your weight is at or should be at for that fight?
I'm gonna get back down to my fight weight. Obviously, I'm lighter now than I was for the Saudi fight, and obviously, as it stands, I still got a long time left till May 2nd. Obviously, so I'm not really worried. I should be in prime condition, physical condition. I need to be against Povetkin because Olympic gold medalist, former world champion. I only lost the two reigning world champions, two strong reigning world champions. So and the guy is technically good on his awkward. So I know that, obviously Marius Wack is a tough guy, but I know I had enough to beat him regardless. But against these kind of guys, Povetkin, you have to train hard. You have to put in the time in and come in shape. So, I should be coming about 115, maybe 116, maybe it's 114. Last I was 122.
I asked you about the Usyk Chisora fight as well. So you're doing a live with Del Boy the other day.
Yeah.
What's your thoughts on that fight? I mean, a lot of people saying Usyk's movement, IQ just going to be too much for Del. Some saying they think it's a risky fight for Usyk if Del can get into the fight and make it uncomfortable for him.
You know what? We've seen our own Tony Bellew outbox Usyk early in the fight. So, Bellew is not as strong as Derek. And obviously Derek's a very strong guy. Obviously, I fought him twice and I sparred him many times. I know how strong he is physically. The problem with Derek is if he's motivated and he's in shape, he's a problem for any weight in the world. And Usyk's movement's good, but this is the weight boxing. And you're not going to outbox someone like Derek Chisora for 12 rounds if you haven't got punch power to keep him at bay. And I think that would be Usyk's biggest struggle, is keeping him at bay. And one thing I noticed in the last 2 years, Derek's been in incredible shape even when he's not fighting. I saw him in Saudi, and he looked like he was ready to fight. And I know what he's been doing, so I know he's physically very strong. But if he's motivated, I think he'll beat Usyk. That's what I think. That's my personal opinion.
Got a couple more minutes. I've got a question for you. If you could fight one heavyweight next, who would you choose to fight next?
Anthony Joshua.
Well, let's fucking do it.
I'm ready. I'm ready. Don't toy with me. Don't play with me. Don't play with me.
Do you know what? I swear, right? The weirdest thing with you two is if I asked him, right? Yeah. Even with the chance of being undisputed, if I said to Anthony, tell me what's the fight you want more than anything, he'd say Dillian White. And I watched your fight back. Sky are playing it about 3 times a day at the moment, to be fair. Your first fight, it was just... I remember, when we did the workout, and you two were just like, he went over to one area and you was like over it, and then you looked over and someone from his team looked over, and then you remember when we all come together in that fitness centre, it was all going to go off. The energy was unbelievable for that fight.
I swear after I was like, fuck you, Eddie Hearn or something. Then I went down the stairs. I was like, you can fucking have it as well. I think I said, sorry. You know what's happened?
I can't tell you how many times I changed my pants in that build-up.
You know what? I've matured a lot and come on a lot physically, mentally, and technically. And I think we both have come on so much and learned so much. We both have mutual respect for each other. But there's still that fire there. And I think, listen, I'd like to fight Joshua another 2-3 times throughout my career. Win, lose, or draw. I'd still like to fight him because there's just that one fight that just gives you that. I don't know. It's like that fight will make you run extra miles. Like, it make you do everything correctly. Just that one fight. It's just that guy that, it make you flipping go to bed the extra hour early. Just that one fight. And sometimes it's good being world champion, but sometimes you need that little extra kick, And let's be honest, he's got money, he's got world titles and stuff, so he just wants challenges that he can be like, you know what, I need to be ready for Dillian because Dillian is very dangerous and he'll come to fight. And he knows that.
Final one. A couple of your little heavyweight charges that you work with and represent. Fabio Wardley and Babic as well. Big years for them.
you know, I think those guys at Bright Future, Fabio is young. The good thing is he's 6'6". He's 105 kilos. He's very active. He's very sharp, and he's very young. You know, he's a guy that's not going to come into his prime for another 2-3 years. Babbage, you know, I call him Alan the Babbage Savage. Be careful because he turned into a cabbage, because that's his mindset. He just keeps coming, you know. Listen, I had him in camp for Rivas. The guy, he gave me hell, man, you know, for 4 rounds, you know. So we're just going to progress him and move him on. But, you know, obviously, we're just going to get through this tough time. You know, obviously, it's a hard time because there's so much seriousness going on in the world at the minute. It's a hard time to really plan boxing and talk about boxing, you know, with all this stuff. But as soon as it clears up, me and the guys are ready to go. We're ready to go.
Good stuff, mate. Well, I'll catch up with you in a couple of days. Work hard out there. I'll see you soon.
Up, mate. Cheers.
Cheers, mate.
Das ist Frau Nadler. Ihre Mission: durchstarten und alle mit ihren Fischklassikern begeistern. Nadler Sahne Heringsfilets. Zarte Heringsfilets mit Gurke und Apfel. Unglaublich lecker. Mission erfüllt. Nadler, das Beste geben.
I'll turn it round so you're on, Scott. Right, Dillian White, done. WBC interim world champion. Who's on next, Scott? Boatsy. I wonder if Boatsy's got the beard on or whether he's had a trim. Let's see when he... Joshua Boatsy, for me, one of the best young talents in the sport of boxing. Let's see if he's on here. No, not yet. Just finished, actually, an interview with Kugan Cassius, dropping on IFL later today. He's had the trim. Boatsy. Where's Boatsy? JB, come off and then request the live video, my friend. Is Kugan still there? No. Kugan's gone, guys, I'm afraid. Boatsy Yard this year. Yes, please. Ed's going for the geography teacher. Look, actually, I was teaching my kids geography this morning. PE, then geography, then science. Here's JB. Right, Joshua Boatsy coming in. Yes, JB.
You saying Eddie?
He's the undefeated WBA international and a former undefeated British light heavyweight champion. JB, what's happening?
Yeah.
Mate, I was expecting, look at this. I'm going for the JB 12-week camp look right now.
No, you've got to line it up now.
Mate, this is terrible. It's all over the place. It's all over the place. How you been, mate?
There, man. Not bad. I'm cool, man. Yourself?
Well, for you, must be double frustrating because obviously supposed to fight November last year. You were out with an illness. Yep. Coming back March 28th, and now obviously with everything going on. Where's the mind at? Where's the mindset at? How do you stay positive?
How do you stay positive? I think, you know what it is? It's for me, I've realized that it's not just me that's going through it. So I can't just separate myself and be like, it's only you that's going through it, Josh. So feel sorry for yourself. So that's how I've kind of dealt with it. I know that it's every fighter in the world that's facing it. So I'm not like, I'm isolated, but other fighters are having fights. So I understand that everyone in the industry is on pause and on hold at the moment. So that's kind of how I'm dealing with it, and just staying sane by training, being around family, being around friends. Not too much because you can't have like a large social gathering, but I'm around the right people, so that's helping me at the moment.
What about on the training side? Out still getting the runs in? Is that? I mean, obviously, I know the majority of the gyms are shut.
Yeah, it's strictly just runs now and little bodyweight circuits that I can do after the runs. There's not. I was meant to train today with my trainer, but that's been called off as well. And I think it's going to stay like that till we hear anything different. So I think it's just about the individual doing something with themselves and then doing like a bodyweight circuit. So yeah, I think any pads or anything will be called off for me personally.
Do you think that when